DoctorAche reviews Netflix's Next Gen. One sentence review. Cliche movie that rips off and combines at least 3 other movies, but it doesn't leave a bad taste in your mouth. My short review is that it's unoriginal, cliche, and predictable. I didn't find myself surprised even once, and the action seemed over the top and illogical, especially for robots. The robots didn't act like robots at all. None of the comedy stuck. None of the relationships seemed real. None of the people, reactions, or dialogue seemed real. The villain and the twist are seen coming from the very first scene. There are no consequences throughout the entire movie. The friendly robot is indestructible. And the memory consequence just keeps getting brought up. So when it finally happens, as it inevitably had to, it's not a real gut punch because they told you it was going to be happening every scene. The animation is good. The score is very good. The music is good. Voice acting, also pretty good. It doesn't take itself too seriously, so you're not really pissed off by the cliches and the other negatives I just listed, but throughout you just kind of feel bored. Writing, yay or nay? I'm going to have to say nay. It's cliche, cliche, cliche. It's predictable, predictable, predictable. It ripped off iRobot, Big Hero 6, and every other teenage angst movie ever. It's like the pitch meeting was literally, what if we have this rebel girl with abandonment issues team up with Baymax from Big Hero 6 to stop Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey, who controls the robots from iRobot, who want to kill humanity with suicide bomber robots, all because humanity is imperfect and robots are perfect. And Netflix is like, we'll do it, because, you know, they'll try anything. And so the writing, it's just the robots, the Baymax, discount Baymax, throughout the entire movie is reminded that his memory banks are filling up and he's going to lose all his memory if he gets if he does his update. And so, you know, they just keep reminding you of this. So when it finally happens, it doesn't really hit that hard. Also, throughout the movie, there are really no stakes. You know, like, sure, the robots are trying to kill humanity, but the only people we meet in this entire movie, we meet like 10, by the way, not even. Only people we meet in this entire movie are, like, don't seem like real people. The characters are just kind of meh. The most explored character we have is May, and she's super one-dimensional by the end of the movie. Her big growth is, you know, what she's trying to, learn is, you know, don't let bad memories stop you from making good ones, and to accept that people leave. But at the end of the movie, I didn't feel like she learned either of these things. Like, yeah, she's playing soccer with her, you know, old bullies, and, you know, she's creating a new relationship with discount Baymax, but that's not a real payoff to anything. It feels empty. So, beginning, yay or nay? Did it start off strong? Yay? Sort of. I mean, it opens with baby May putting a rainbow sticker on a family picture, and it's, you know, super sweet. She's super cute. And then in the background, her father literally walks out on her and her mother. And then a pretty gnarly song starts. Pretty good song. And we get a growing up montage with a bunch of pictures, and every step of the way, it's telling us she hates robots, and she is just a rebel. Every step of the way, she's, you know, beating up robots. She dyes her hair purple. She's beating up more robots. She cuts her hair short. She's beating up more robots. She's getting older all the while, and it's, you know, the song is what makes the opening scene good. And then, her and her mother go to this unveiling of the next gen of robots. And her mother's a huge robot enthusiast, and she, May, hates them. And so her mother's too distracted reading all the new gadgets about the new and improved generation of robots. And so May naturally sneaks off and goes to the soccer field. She wants to go explore the soccer field. And this shows her separation from her mother, and the fact that she's still holding on to her father, because her father was a soccer player. You saw his jersey when he walked out on them, and it's later established that he's the one who taught her how to play soccer. So she tries to leave to go to the soccer field, and she gets caught by the robot police, and she runs away from them and subsequently stumbles upon Discount Baymax and accidentally activates him. And then, she gets away and blah, blah, blah. It's a pretty good ending. It's pretty quick. It sets everything up. Like, who she is. Her, her mother kind of neglects her, and the pacing's pretty good. Ending. Yay or nay? Yay. Again, sort of. But a little more begrudgingly than the beginning. The boss fight is unoriginal, and neither of the robots seem to be harming each other at all. Like I said, Discount Baymax is indestructible. The only saving grace is the score. They tuned down the sound effects of the fight and rose this really powerful, emotional score, and it's pretty beautiful. Also, Discount Baymax, Discount Baymax self-sacrifices himself, basically. He resets his system, and all his memories are being erased so that he could have his weapon system, so he can save May and the rest of humanity. And so it's self-sacrifice. You have that. He's slowly losing his memories, which is pretty heartbreaking. And it's pretty good. But just as he's about to do the final shot on the robot, his last memory gets erased, and he shuts down. He resets. And then May just pops up out of nowhere, hits the bad robot's helmet head piece, breaks it off, and then the robot's just dead. Like, the whole robot is controlled by just a tiny little head? Seriously? Like, that vulnerable, tiny little head is whatever. So then she reactivates Discount Baymax, and of course he's fine, because, it's the end of the movie. Everything has to be tied up in a nice little bow. And, again, no consequences. He lost his memories, but, they're making new ones, and he literally acts like he is like he did before. Like, he doesn't act like he doesn't really know who she is. Like, he asks what her name is, but I don't know. It just didn't seem like that big a deal. And then, she goes over and starts playing soccer with her old bullies, and Discount Baymax joins them. And then, great cover of I Can See Clearly Now starts playing, and the credits start rolling. And the song makes it feel much better than it should. It's a really good song, so it makes the ending feel good. You feel happy, but it's really only because of the song. The movie didn't have a really solid payoff. It didn't really work. It kind of makes you feel like you sat through this almost 2-hour movie. It's really long for what it was. And little nitpick here. Have you ever reset a computer or an Xbox or PlayStation or whatever? When you restart your computer, the whole thing shuts down, and then it does its thing, and it boots back up again. And every single time he's erased a memory, poof, it's gone. So when he activates his little thing, and erases all his memories and reboots and gets his weapons back. It should have been a full system reboot. Memories gone. It shouldn't have been that he was losing his memory slowly, yet he had all his weapon systems ready to go. It just didn't. It didn't make sense. Moving on. Characters. Yay or nay? Nay. No one in this entire movie seems real. They don't talk like real people. They don't have motivations that seem real, like to their characters. In one scene, after May comes home, she just got beat up at school by her bullies, and her mom, is distracted by the robot. She realizes that May got beat up, so she puts all that aside, and she goes up to comfort May. And, she's talking about how sometimes she feels alone too, but only sometimes. And she's like, do you know why that is? And May's looking at her, and, she's thinking that she's about to say because... No, Mom says, because I always have my robots. She knows May hates robots. That is not what a mother in that situation would say. A real mother would... One, if she's a bad mother for the movie or in real life, she wouldn't even care, wouldn't even acknowledge the fact that her daughter was upset. Wouldn't even notice that she got beat up. In which case, bad neglecting mother. On the flip side, if she noticed and went up and was all, oh, honey, I want to make you feel better, she would have known not to say that bullshit about the robot. That's just one of the many examples. The bullies. Oh, don't even... School in general is ridiculous, but then the bullies don't seem like real people either. It's like the writers of this movie watched one of those anti-bully skits that they did back in the 90s and was like, that's how kids act nowadays. Let's have them have no real motivation and just attack this girl because they don't want her to play soccer. Ugh. And then that other girl that she stumbles upon, that Ginger, she doesn't act like a real person either. She's like totally content and happy with the fact that she's constantly picked on. And she just is like, poof, hey, I'm weird. Like, nobody says that. Like, the characters just don't seem like real people, and it really harms the movie. If the characters seemed real, talked real, acted real, it would have made the movie a lot better. It just hurt the movie a lot, having the characters be so bland and fake. Performances. Yay or nay? Yay! The voice acting was really quite good. The lines aren't good, but that's the writer's fault. But the delivery of the lines were very good. And the only voices that seemed out of place were the robots. But again, that's not the voice actor's fault. It's the writers for making the robots talk and say things that they really shouldn't have said. Timing, yay or nay? Nay. The pacing was alright at best. It dragged in many, many places, and there were several redundant scenes, especially the scenes with the bad guy. Or bad guys. There's really no tension throughout the movie, and no payoff. Really nothing. It's just kind of meh. The beginning was the best paced overall, and after that, you just forget about it. Sound, yay or nay? Yay. No news is good news. So, there weren't really any glaring out-of-place sound effects, and everything, that seemed to fit. There weren't any things that make you go, that sounds weird. So, yay. Give them that. Score, yay. Very good. Great score throughout, but especially during the boss fight. And there were a few other touching scenes early on, but especially during the boss fight. They did a great job of making you feel the way that you're supposed to feel throughout the entire movie. Definite plus was the score. Visuals, yay or nay? Yay. The animation was really good for the most part. The weapons especially. They look very cool, very colorful and bright. The camera placement could have been better in scenes, and the camera seems stationary during non-action scenes, which didn't do the movie any favors. Believability, yay or nay? Nay. Like I said before, when I was talking about the characters, none of them seem believable. The relationships, dialogue, even the premise of the movie doesn't seem believable in that universe. I sighed, shook my head, rolled my eyes, and that's something the audience really should never do in your movie. There are several minutes where May is literally flying around on discount Baymax, just blowing robots and public property up, and there's just no consequences. It's just not believable. Relatability, yay or nay? Nay. This one was tough, though. There are lots of people, too many people, actually, who can relate to abandonment. So, in that sense, yes. This movie is relatable, but this movie didn't actually feel like that's what it was about. It just kind of said that's what it was about. The lack of believability, along with no connection to the characters, and the movie not truly trying to be about dealing with abandonment, is what made the movie unrelatable. No one is going around with their new, better robot, picking on kids who bullied you, and destroying robots in the streets just because it's fun and you hate robots. Like, that's not... Editing. Yay or nay? Yay. There weren't any glaring cuts or weird sequences, and the action was always easy to follow, so good on them on that. Antagonist. Yay or nay? Nay. Not fleshed out at all. Evil for the sake of being evil. Plan wasn't even totally sound, and they didn't explain like the full scope. And it just didn't connect with you. It's cliche. A good villain is supposed to be the opposite of your hero, and this villain just wasn't. On no level do you even understand why he wants to kill humanity. Just that it's because it's imperfect. The best villains are those you can understand and to some level even agree with, or at the very least condone. But not this villain. Twist. Yay or nay? Nay. The twist was that the evil businessman was the robot all along. So predictable. Next. Cry. Yay or nay? Nay for me. It didn't make me cry. To be fair, I can see how some people might get choked up at Discount Baymax losing his memories while trying to save May. You know, the whole end scene that I've already praised. The score is beautiful and melancholy, and it's really great self-sacrifice. It just didn't hit me hard enough to cry, tear up, or even get choked up. This is because I didn't fully connect with him, or with the movie. The movie didn't make me care enough about him or May, and even though I felt, you know, the melancholy, it just didn't resonate enough. Message. Yay or nay? Nay. It had a message, but it was manhandled and wasn't layered or subtle, and it didn't get through to me personally. Impact. Yay or nay? Nay. It didn't get me invested enough. The message didn't resonate, and didn't resonate enough to, like, keep rolling around in my head for a little while. I didn't feel any immediate urge to show anyone or talk to anyone about it. And with me, at least, it didn't accomplish its goal of making me feel good and laugh. It's supposed to be a comedy feel-good. I don't have more acceptance of abandonment, and overall I feel like I wasted my time watching a ripoff of other movies I'd rather watch. Production value. Yay or nay? Yay. It didn't feel cheap. The animation was very good, the voice acting very good, the score was good, the music was great. Like, pretty good production value. Overall enjoyability, yay or nay? I'm gonna have to say nay for me. I was bored, and I just found myself checking how much longer the movie was, and when it was over, I was happy. That's not a good sign. Rewatchability, yay or nay? Nay. I don't have any desire to rewatch this in the near future, and I don't really have any urge to recommend it to my friends and spread it, get the word out there. It's just how I felt, man. Alright. Pros and cons. Pros. The movie is a pro. Voice acting, animation, the score. In one scene, when they're out at night, and they had their first, May and the robot, Discount Baymax, have their first little fight. If you look, and, it's a scene where he gives her that cool, that's another pro, that cool gift that he gives her, that colorful rainbow thing. That's another pro. But if you look at the sky, the moon is accurately sized. That's a pro for me. I can't tell you how annoying it is when you're watching a movie, especially an animated movie, and the moon is just gigantic. Why? Just make it realistic. Come on. Another pro, the scene I was talking about earlier, where May comes home and she's bullied. She runs up to her room, and her mother goes back to her robot. And the robot says something about a foot rub. And I just found myself chuckling. And, is that a Pulp Fiction reference? Like, and if it is, it's a little creepy. Anyway, another pro is the robot, Discount Baymax, when he's trying to give her back her bag. He approaches the house and he tracks her down, and he goes into Terminator mode, or Predator mode. He literally shifts from regular sight to night or to infrared, and it's a cool nod to Terminator. Another pro is the unicorn origami. Is that supposed to be a Blade Runner reference? It comes up 2 or 3 times. I'd like to think it is. There's this one scene where the bad guy's trying to repossess Discount Baymax, and May literally goes, "Hands off, hippie!" I thought that was pretty funny. I actually laughed out loud at that one. The boss fight score is also a very big pro. Now for the cons. The characters. The plot is unoriginal. The villain is obvious. Robots are allowed to hurt people. Like in the bullying scene, the bully literally says to her robot for her to beat up May. Robots aren't supposed to be able to hurt people. Yeah, I get it, for the end with the whole iRobot suicide bombers, go against programming or something, but just regular robots you buy off the shelf, not mind controlled, are just allowed to hurt other people just because their master says to? No. Again, another con is the robots just don't act like robots. They act like people, they talk like people, and in this movie they talk like shitty people. They didn't act like robots. The chases and fights are over the top most of the time. School, oh my god, why are there robots teaching school in such a bad way? And none of the kids are even paying attention. They're all on their phones or playing with their robots or doing VR, and it just doesn't seem like that would be how it would be in the future in this world. I get robots are everywhere, but you'd think it would be for better education, not what we saw in this movie. And the whole memory thing keeps getting brought up every night. Discount Baymax goes and has to delete some memories, and it just keeps getting brought up. They're fucking hitting it. Hammer, nail, hammer, nail. We get it. Stop. Just let us. Just stop. Oh my god. The dog translator. Why? 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 And it's cursing and being bleeped out, and it's so stupid. And the whole premise of the iRobot suicide bombers, really, again, another no consequences. Throughout the entire movie, no consequences. To nothing. No, never a consequence. And the robots aren't designed intelligently. Like in Avatar, James Cameron's Avatar, he wanted every single machine and weapon and everything, flying device, to at least be realistic. At least, have why it looks away is for functionality, not just because it looks cool. And a lot of the robots in this movie just didn't look like they were designed intelligently. They didn't fit their purpose. May's revenge, when she's getting revenge on the bullies with Discount Baymax, goes way too far. She basically tells Discount Baymax to kill her bullies, and it's really messed up. Like, this girl has some issues. And then there's a weird forced fallout between her and the robot after that. And it just... why? And the villain's motivation isn't clear. It's stupid. Then the scientist... okay. He built Discount Baymax to fight against what he saw coming with the suicide bomber robots. Okay? So he built Discount Baymax sort of like an iRobot. But my question is, was he just gonna build one? Like, how was one robot supposed to take out all other robots? Like, at no point in the movie do they even suggest that all the other robots are tied to some mother machine, like, and so that he can just destroy that and they all die Phantom Menace style. Like, at no point do they make a mention of that. So he's just supposed to take out thousands, maybe even millions of other little tiny robots before the bad guy follows through with his plan. Like, have you ever heard of D-Day? Like, how is that supposed to work? Like, he's only one robot. It just doesn't make sense. And the robots in the entire movie are incompetent. They're just... they're not good at their jobs, and they're illogical, and it just didn't feel like robots. The twist is predictable. The evil man being broadcast saying his evil plan is so cliche. And then he's like, oh, well, now they know. Might as well embrace it. Like... And during the escape, because all of the robots start blowing up in that stadium, May literally runs over to closing doors, and the dog puts its head in the way to block the door from shutting. And then she literally just opens the doors. Like, what? Moving on. Another con is Greenwood, the chick, the bully. May saves her or something while in the stadium while the robots are blowing up. And she kind of goes off and she's saved. May lets her escape. And then out of nowhere, when the bad guy is about to, like, kill May, she just shows up and is like, hey, pick on somebody your own size. She, like, kicks a soccer ball at him and, like, where did you come from? And then she immediately disappears again. What was the point of that? And Baymax is indestructible. Just completely indestructible. And at the right before the end, right before the big boss fight, or right at the end of it, I don't remember, all the suicide robots are just swarming him. And, like, him and May. And they're like, oh no. And then he literally just pops these shoulder things off, these laser things. And it's just Ex Machina kills them all. Just all of them die. Just poof. Ex Machina. Final thoughts. overall, it's really not a horrible movie. It's really not. It's just really cliche and predictable, and it just combines elements from so many other stories. It's just not new. It's not original. It's disappointing and really wasted potential. The beginning really makes you think, oh, they're going to do something different. No, they didn't. Score, 1 to 10. I'm going to have to give it a 4. It actually would be lower if it wasn't for the fact that this movie is really not horrible. It's just boring. So, those are my thoughts. Feel free to share this video. Let me know what you think, down in the comments. And stay tuned for future videos. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.